Hi again. Let's go back to the principles of the sower sows the word. I want you to go to Mark chapter 4. We'll take just a moment to review just for a second. The sower sows the word, verse number 14. Remember, every time you speak, you're sowing seed. Every time you speak the word, you're sowing good seed. Every time you're speaking, poor me, I'll never amount to anything, you're sowing bad seed. It's called opposing yourself. Every time you speak something that is hybrid, if you allow me to use, where you water something down, then that's the result that you're going to have. You're going to have a hybrid seed growing in your garden. Well, it'd be something like this. I just don't believe God heals everybody. It's coming from an experience. It's coming from something that has been established, somebody said to you, and you've received it and taken it into your life. It may not be the truth. But see, there's a difference between a truth and the truth. We've already mentioned that. But he says here, the sower sows the word. And these are they by the wayside where the word is sown, but when they have heard. It's important for you and I to understand the difference between having heard something and hearing something. Having heard something is past tense, and hearing something is present tense. And the more that you hear something, the deeper the root system of that you're hearing goes inside of the soil of your own heart. And when, not if, but when the storms of life come against you, that root system will protect you. The trees in Northern California, the redwoods, they're 300 foot tall. Why isn't it that when the big winds come out there, they don't blow down? It's because of the root system that is inside of the dirt that you can't see, that goes down really deep, sometimes as deep as the tree itself. That's what holds it up. That's the part that people don't see. The part that people don't see in your life is the quiet times where you've meditated on the word and you've allowed that seed to go a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. It's establishing it. And whenever the world system says, oh, you better be careful because there's storms out there, there's financial storms, there's the enemy's going to do this, he's going to do that, and all the tragic stuff that's going on out there. Listen, if your seed doesn't have a good root system, you'll fall for it every time. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay attention to these things, but I'm saying you have to choose what it is you're going to believe. You have to choose what it is you're going to hear. It's important. And he says, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. The word hearts is your thoughts and your feelings. Satan has to use somebody. He may use somebody in church. He may use family and friends to take the word that you have heard away from you. If you've just heard something and it's really good, go back and hear it again. And if you didn't get it the second time, go back and hear it a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time. Well, Pastor Vic, how many times do I have to go back and get it and hear it until it becomes yours? And you know what I found over the years? Whenever it becomes mine, I want to hear it again. I think it's really interesting when you have a healing seminar for people, only a lot of times only those that are healed come. When you have a prosperity seminar, there's a lot of times that only people that are prosperous come. Why do they keep coming back to a prosperity seminar? Because they like what they're hearing. It's who they are. The root is going deeper inside of them. Verse 16, and these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word immediately receive it with gladness. Gladness is an emotion. It's a feeling. When you hear the word for the first time, it changes the way that you feel. The word has enough power in it to be spoken one time to change the outward expression of how you feel. Oh, people say, I just don't go by my feelings. You know, the Bible says that we walk by faith and not by feelings. The Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says that we walk by faith and not by what we see with these natural eyes. Good principles of the Word, when they're sown, they will literally change the way that you feel. They will turn your sad days into glad days. Then he goes on to verse number 17, real interesting verse. But he says, and having no root in themselves, no root system in themselves. The word themselves is their soil. The word themselves is their soulish man, their mind, their will and emotions, thoughts and feelings. That's where the root system of the word takes root. It begins to stabilize your whole life. And the way that it does that is because you are hearing and hearing and hearing. Listen, if all you've just done is just heard, listen, some of you sitting there listening to me right now, this may be the only time you'll ever hear this. And I'm telling you that if all you've ever done is heard me say this, then somebody will take it from you. I'm not talking about you have to come and hear me. I don't care. But I am talking about if I'm telling you something that will change your life, you need to hear it and hear it and hear it. The more that you hear it, the more that it's yours. And he says, and having no root system, they're only able, Vic's translation goes like this, they're only able to endure for a time. You can live off of the feeling of glad for a little bit of time. But let me tell you something. Affliction and persecution, it's not if they come, it's when they come. Affliction is your circumstances of life that you face. Persecution are people problems that people say dumb things. And I want to address something real quick. There's a lot of situations going on in our schools that's called bullying. We pick on other kids. What are you doing whenever you bully somebody? You're stealing from them. What are you stealing? You're stealing their worth and their value, and you're making them feel this tall. You know why you're doing that? Because that's how tall you see yourself. You don't see yourself as having any value and worth. Therefore, you have to steal from somebody else to build yourself up. And these are they, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, affliction or circumstances. Let's say the doctor tells you a sad story. You're done for. That's a circumstance. Or somebody's called you a bad name. Or they've talked about you. They've slandered you. That's a people problem. The devil only has two tricks. Circumstances and people. He uses those two against you and I all the time. And if we don't know the truth of the word, we will succumb to the circumstances. When we don't know the truth of the word, we will succumb to the pressures of people, the persecution that they take out on us. And he said, after the affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake, the next thing that happens is that you become offended. Here's where we're at. Listen carefully. Being offended is Satan's number one trick that he uses against you. In order for him to destroy your identity, that's his ultimate goal. In order for him to destroy your identity, let's take this for example. Let's say this is your identity. This is healing your brokenhearted, and this is an offense. In order for him to destroy your identity, he goes through the offense first to get you to take it, and then he breaks your heart, which we'll study the next lesson. He'll break your heart, and when he breaks your heart, he's eventually going to destroy your identity. And when he destroys your identity, you're under his control. Your destiny's under his control. You will get on the treadmill of life and try to perform to get people to like you. I used to be really sensitive about whenever people didn't like me. After a while, I got to the place, so that has nothing to do with anything. Yes, but they said something bad about me, Pastor. Listen, I've been called everything under the sun. I've been accused of everything under the sun. That doesn't make it true. He says that they will become offended. That's where Satan's after. He has to get you offended. Go with me to Matthew chapter 12 and verse number 34. The last part of that verse, it says this: "For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak." Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Listen to me carefully. You will talk about what's in the soil of your heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. Whatever seed you have planted, whatever seed you've let go into your soil, that's the seed that's going to become your speech. That's the seed that will change the way you see and act. That's the seed that will give you the response to issues of life. Proverbs says that out of the heart flow all of the issues of our life. Every issue of your life comes from the natural part of you, which is your heart, your mind, your will, and your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings. It's your soulish man. This part of you, your recreated spirit's already been taken care of. That's your relationship with the Father. It's this part of you, it's the horizontal relationship. That's where, listen, you're going to win or lose in the natural realm based on the condition of your heart. And if you believe wrong, you'll talk wrong. It happens all the time. Listen to people. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. I want to show you something. This is a bag of seed. It's an illustration. The next segment, we're going to plant some seed. I want to show you some things that's real important. Mark chapter 6 and verse number 31, Jesus made an amazing statement. He said, "Take no thought saying." Take no thought saying. Your thoughts are seeds waiting to be planted. You have a thought, and oftentimes people just spit it right out. Jesus said, don't take thought saying. There are some thoughts that you don't need to speak out because you don't need them growing up in your garden. We'll talk more about that in the next segment. I want to give you some talking points. Why is it important to keep or to guard your heart? Why is it important to keep or to guard your heart? Did you know that the key to your soil, to your garden, is on the inside? You choose what seeds you let into your garden. Afflictions and persecutions. Those are circumstances and people problems. Can you understand how those will cause you to be offended? It's real important. If you'll learn how to deal with circumstances and people, listen, you're going to win most of the time, okay? I would like to say all the time, and I really believe you all the time, but sometimes we'll just slip up. The third one is taking thought saying. Some things you have a thought, you just don't need to talk about them. Because the moment that you take thought saying, those seeds are coming out of your mouth and they're looking for soil. The next segment will be fascinating as well. God bless you.